How's it going? This is my video about artificial intelligence. I'm doing it from this position because I'm stretching my hips. I stretch my hips hours a day and I don't seem to get any more limber. I don't get any exercise. I don't lift weights, I don't ride my bike, I don't run, I don't anything. I don't even stretch my hamstrings, calves, or quads or anything because I spend all of my spare time stretching my hips and my shoulder. Well, that's my frog. My frog is saying hi. Dude, those frogs are so easy to take care of, man. Seriously, I bought that thing like a year ago. And I just throw crickets in there like once a week. And the thing stays alive. It's whack. Same thing with the animals. Anyway, and is my other lizard out? No, I have a Savannah monitor. I've got a, whoops. I've got a bearded dragon there. Anyway, and Savannah was growing. Anyways, AI. I decided to do this video because I was listening to. I saw a video titled. I don't even know what channel. So many people have YouTube videos, these channels these days, that when I watch a video, I don't even know who it is, and then I never see them again. But so I saw some video that's saying like. Tim Dillon saying MAGA is finished. I'm like, oh good, let's see a MAGA guy admit that a MAGA is finished. And so I guess he's on Joe Rogan, and Joe Rogan and Tim Dillon are all confused about AI again. Like AI, Tim Dillon's like, what's this AI stuff? And Joe Rogan's like, we'll fuse with them robots. And then he laughs. It's like nobody fucking has a clue. I think that. And I have a lot to say about this because I've been using AI like all day long for the last couple of years. So let me just tell you what my AI use is. I started using AI maybe like 2 years ago when I started, because I have every single book ever written in humanity until Gregory the Great, right? So I'm basically a genius, super hardworking, amazing person, a D student in school, kicked out of school, Fort Loser College. Anyways, sorry, I shouldn't have included that. Actually, I should have. Anyways, yeah, every book ever written until Gregory the Great. So that's the, and then there is this big, like, Dark Age. And then I have all of the important books from the Age of Enlightenment also. But, but I'm currently working on, every single book that I have, all the books from the Enlightenment and every book in the past, I plugged in the each chapter and I had AI condense it to various sizes. I had every single book condense its chapter to 10 words, because a lot of books, they have chapters that are only 1 page. And so, you know, that would be condensing, or even less than that. So that would be like condensing, like 25 times smaller, like 250 words down to 10 words. And I also had them condensed down to like 250 words. And for the really long chapters, because there's some really big books with huge chapters, and then I would condense it down to like 100 words, and then 250 words, 50 words, and then 10 words, and like that's how the Mahabharata is like that, like 5 different versions. So that's the first use that I had for artificial intelligence. And I was actually, before I even realized that ChatGPT could do that, I even did like maybe 5 or 10 chapters from Livy where I was condensing it myself, dude. I was reading the fucking chapter and then condensing it to 10 words, just from what I comprehended. Like read the whole thing, thought about what it said, and condensed it down. And I was like, I was gonna do the whole book that way, and that would have taken so goddamn long. I would never ever get finished with what I'm doing. But when I did it with AI, dude, it's just like, and then when I looked at the you know, what they were saying, the quality of it, you know, like, because I would give it special instructions when I would have it cut it down. I'd say like keep the numbers, because Livy was like the first book I did. I would condense Livy and I'd say, when you condense it down to the title, keep the numbers. Like anytime it mentioned a number, keep the number and write the number in letters or in digits, not spelled out. And I even think for some of them I had do special font for numbers. If not, you know, I can run that later. But and it was fast. And so now I've got, if you look at my books, which you won't because people don't read because you're all retarded. That's why I'm a D student. You know, people say that the world went retarded because we included women and black people, and I didn't think of that as serious for a long time, but I'm starting to be like, maybe, especially women. Not so much in minorities, but like women. Because they don't have to try at all to get fucking 4.0s. But anyways, let me. Something went wrong. But you don't have to blame them either. That's kind of me falling into manosphere because I'm a little bit of an incel. But no, the real problem is this wealth discrepancy problem we've got. That's why nobody can have kids. But anyways, yeah, it's just, I'll try to do this video without constantly mentioning how, yeah. Because it kind of, that's why I'm doing this video in the first place. Like, I'm just got fed up with how stupid people are when it comes to AI. It's like I was listening to, okay, because I haven't really been listening. And I've also seen a bunch of videos of people talking about it, but not that many videos of the actual people for some reason, and I want to do more. But I was watching a video from the CEO of NVIDIA, Jensen Huang. He's like 63 years old, and he's actually from Taiwan. It's interesting how all these top AI people are from all over the world. It's like you need, like, it takes like a certain type of brain to figure out this AI computer computation stuff. But anyways, when I was hearing him talk, dude, I was agreeing with literally everything he said, and he seemed like the most level-headed person. And when I hear, I saw an interview with the ChatGPT guy, and with somebody, and he seemed completely freaking sane to me, totally normal. And then when I hear anti-AI people talking, I feel like I'm listening to an insane person. So when I hear Ed Zitron, I've heard Ed Zitron a bunch of his interviews, and I don't understand a goddamn thing he's saying. And usually my rule of thumb is when I'm hearing somebody talk and it sounds like nonsense, it probably is. So I think a lot of Ed Zitron's like journalism is like, there's a lot of like fair fact checking and good numbers and knowledge and stuff, but then he twists it around. And anyway, he's saying that that AI is not solvent financially, and so that's why AI is going to go away. But if we're all using AI, then obviously we're going to keep it. We're just going to, the structure of it's going to have to change. Like first AI started with rich people investing their personal money into it because they thought it was cool and they wanted to be like patriotic for America, get ahead of China or whatever, and also to, yeah, improve the world. And then they you start, yeah, and it's like a nonprofit, so maybe you get like tax benefit, and then you get you charge people $20 a month to use it. And so what Ed Zitron says is like none of that is economically viable. Like it's more expensive to run it than what they're making. Well, my point is we're eventually going to figure out a way to afford it. Like we could make it a utility, and it has to become a utility eventually. Everything has to become a utility. That's why communism is the only way in the future. Yeah, so it just makes no sense when people say there's going to be a crash. Now, if what Ed Zitron's talking about is they haven't figured out the like all the logistics and the finances of it all, then there's going to be a crash, which wouldn't surprise me just on the principle that there's always a crash and everything. You know, there's ups and downs with society. You know, like we had electric cars like in the 90s or something, you know, and then we lost them. We had electric cars in like the 1910s and stuff. We had like vertical car parking in the 1930s. Although, you know, there's so much of like fake AI stuff on. This is just little pictures of history I see on Facebook. But now, you know, there's lots of examples of where we step forward and we peek into the future, and then we have to step back because it was a little bit premature. You know, like going to the moon. And so the same thing could happen with AI. Like, you know, we rebel against AI. The data centers get shut down, and the rich people give up and run out of money or something like that. But we're eventually going to use AI as part of our society. And now let me tell you how it made my life easier. So I used AI to condense these books down to all these different sizes, whatever size I want. And it did an amazing job. Like if you look at the title of all of my books that I have, you're going to see like the titles with the numbers. And then the next thing I did, okay, and this is all like compounding on each other. So the next thing I did with AI was I did three things with AI. I did three major things with AI, and for some reason I can only picture two of them. It was the condensation of the chapters. Anyway, and then I'll remember it. And then the next thing I did with my books with AI was I created the images. And I'm maybe like halfway through all of the books until Gregory the Great, you're welcome. I know that's amazing. Or at least I know that's amazing. I know that you don't. And it's fast, dude. And I use up all of my credits. But the cool thing about that is that when it's condensing the book, like from 5 pages down to like an image, and I say, what the prompt I say is, I went and I got every single different like artistic style so that each author gets its own artistic style for the illustrations. And so I give it the instructions and I say, give me as many images as you can from this in this artistic style. And it takes like maybe a minute and a half for the really short chapters that are like a page or less than a page. You know, there's a lot of chapters that are like 1/10 of a page that I got illustrated. Or a few, and a lot that are like a half of a page. But and then it pops them out. But the cool thing is that when it creates the images, it's creating the images from the chapter, but it's also creating images from that condensed 10-word title of the chapter, because I have them all on the book. And so when I look at the image, it knows to make the images, but it focuses on the chapter. And so in the images, I have like the title of the chapter on there with all the numbers. I have all the numbers in my images, right? So I've got like, it says in the caption under the image, because they're all titled, because I told it to do that. It's like 5,000 with digits, 5,000 elephants, you know, with 2,500 horse, like on all of them. It's freaking amazing. But anyway, the images are amazing because like they can do everything. And also you can make stories from images too. But yeah, the images from the stories is like it can do like philosophical stuff. Like when you have something where somebody's thinking esoterically about heaven and hell and earth, it'll have like heaven up above in silver, earth here in green, hell in red below. It'll have the person's head and then the thought bubble, what he's thinking, and then even in images and then him talking. It's like, whoa, dude. Like, if there's anything in the world that'll make you think that AI is actually alive today and from what it can do today, I think it's these images, dude. Like interpreting images and then telling you what it means. Yeah, so it's the condensation and the creation of the images. For some reason, whatever. It'll come back to me. And maybe it's only those two things. I'm missing something in between that I use the AI for. Anyways, Yeah, so without AI, I'd never finish my book, and it's interesting. I always knew AI would be able to do this. Like even 20 years ago, when I started my website in 2002, so 24 years ago, in Chile, I started it to teach English. But then quickly after I did that, I'm like, oh, okay, I like websites. Let's turn this into a personal website. And the very first thing that I did on my website was the history books. I was like, we need to put books from history on the internet where it's just one book on one page. Because every single time I try to read a book on the internet, like you always have to read through these like Perseus or whatever that have all of these footnotes. So it reads the footnotes to you and all the numbers under the footnote, which is so distracting. And then these pages are, they're the chapters, ended up turning into the chapters of my book, are only like a page. So like I hit play, right click, text to speech, and then in fucking 50 seconds later, I have to go click to the next page, highlight, text to speech. And so that's the first thing I built so that you could do that. Because I think they had text to speech programs even back in those days that you could do it with, or I knew they would. And I remember thinking to myself, I bet you in about 2025, I even knew the time. Because the way that I designed it in the beginning was I have the text in the middle and then I have columns on either end. And so I put the columns on either end, partly because you can't read all the way across because your mind, your brain, your eye won't be able to find the next line on the other side if you go all the way across the screen. So I had to make it like about the same width as like a book would be. But then I was like, oh yeah, of course, you just put the images on the side. So I was going to stack images all the way down on all the books, and I was going to do it with AI. I swear to God, I knew AI was going to do it. That's why I did that. I just didn't know when. And it turns out it all snuck up on me. And AI came out. So then I had to do the AI, even though I had all these other computer projects. And so now I'm swamped. That's why all I do is work on my website. Oh man, lost my train of thought. I didn't sleep very well last night because I couldn't breathe. So, yeah, so now I'm making the images, and I've been doing it since they started doing it back last Christmas is when they came out with Sora, where you could make the images from the text. And I did that for like a week. I made an image for myself and for my mom, and I'm like, oh, this is cool. I manipulated some images of myself, some silly stuff. And then all of a sudden I had an epiphany. And I just remember the third thing I do AI with. God damn. Yeah, so the first thing I do AI with is I condense the chapters down. And then the second thing that I do AI with is I create the images. And then the third thing that I do AI with that I only started doing recently is I'm fixing old images, Like if you type an old, and people haven't even started doing this yet. This is all brand spanking new. Like if you type like a historical thing, Lenin. What was that guy's name? How about Joseph Stalin? Or no, we'll do Charlie Chaplin. Charlie Chaplin. Okay, I'm going to Wikipedia Charlie Chaplin. Now look at that. Oops. Hang on, I gotta bring it back up again. Okay, now look at that. That's a black and white picture. So you could send that picture through, and everything's like that. You could send that picture through an image generator and make it look like it was taken from a modern camera. And the AI is so good that you can send like really bad old images from like the 1860s and 50s through it, and it'll make it look good too. Because the AI guesses what it's looking at, and it just fills in the blank. It sees like really faded out white picket fence, and it's like, okay, I know what that is. That's a white picket fence from the year 1860s, and I know what those look like from other images. So I'm just gonna image lay over it, So it's not even fixing the image; it's just recreating the image from knowing what it is. And so these images are amazing, and they put people's faces in them. And because I've been helping old people. I work at old people's place, hanging out with old people. And so the best thing to do whenever you don't have anything to do with them is to show them historical images of town. And so, and it's so much better, especially because their eyesight's not the greatest, to do it with these fixed images. And when I was looking at these images, I was having like a straight up mystical experience. Like I felt like I was time traveling in the past because the pictures were so good. I was like, oh my God. And I'd look at the people and all of a sudden I have this epiphany, like these people are just like you and me. Like you and me and anybody you've ever met could have been reborn or at any time in history, and it'll be like just like living today. The only difference is technology. Everything else is the same. People's mannerisms and everything. Yeah, it kind of reminds me of Bashar, and I'm going to talk about Bashar the alien a lot because he has a lot to do with AI. It says that, you know, reincarnation doesn't even exist. I always grew up believing in reincarnation. And he says linear reincarnation isn't even something that that's not even real. It's like just as real as like concept of heaven. What it actually is just bouncing around. You know, it's kind of similar to the Egyptian religion. I think it was Herodotus who was writing about the Egyptian religion, and he doesn't write the most about Egyptian religion. If you really want to know Egyptian religion, read Plutarch. Moralia. But Herodotus was talking about that the ancient Egyptians believed that when you die, you become an animal. You become each animal in the entire world once. You live one life as each animal in the whole world one time before you can become a human again. So that's kind of their way of saying it's hard to become a human. But also you can interpret it that like you just bounce around. Like when you die, like instead of doing that thing you wanted to like dream of being, why not be a bird for like 5 years or something, you know? But or why don't you reincarnate from your hometown only 200 years ago, or ancient Rome or something? And when I was looking at these images, that's just the mystical freaking insight I had, because I'm just looking at these and they're just standing like normal. These guys has overalls on, just like you know how they look today, and yeah. Anyways, so with those three things that I do with AI, like I've been using my full credits of AI. I've been like, because I think in the beginning when I was doing the translation, they were only giving me certain credits. And anyway, ever since the images, every single day I use all my credits, even up until like yesterday. So I have a lot of experience with AI. So I've seen how it's improved. And yeah, like, only last week, I think, is when it figured out all these different programs started to be able to create images from I thought that I hit. Anyways, hitting images, video from images, like really good. And then you can tell them what to do. And when you tell them, it doesn't really figure it out. But I bet you in 6 months, if you go, turn this image into a person doing a roundhouse kick. Like you could have AI teach you martial arts just by uploading an image of yourself standing and saying, hey, have me do a roundhouse kick, and then like a Kimura. You don't even know what the fuck a Kimura is, and then it'll create some person and be, oh, so that's a Kimura. By doing, you know, that's an arm bar, like just from like the AI showing you because you type it in. So, and I think that's where it's going. That's getting smarter. So anyways, without AI, like how would I have my website? And my website's an educational website. And so you would think, that intelligent people would go, yeah, to be able to do what I do on my website, that's like what we should do, you know? Put all the books on one page, have all of the books lined on either side by the images of the book with the title, with the numbers. Like, it'll, see, because I'm hoping that when I get my books up like that, it'll make me addicted to the books. Because history is addictive, but it's also... There's so much going on in the world today that it's just too easy to turn on YouTube and just watch some random video about anything. And like whatever random video on YouTube you watch these days, it's like original enough, it's fresh enough to you, that you could get hooked on it, you know, like it'll be like the first time you've seen something like that, you know, like an interview with one of these CEOs from the artificial intelligence, or now they're, you know, all these people are coming out with their secrets and stuff, and their little industry secrets and stories, and makes it really difficult to focus on the classics, you know, and that's what we're eventually going to want to try to circle back around, is focus on the classics so that we can find some common voice, common culture, you know. And also we need to make websites, and the AI can also help us make websites. So AI is in our future. Now let me talk about Bashar real quick. Bashar's the alien who, the Sassani alien, and I've been listening to him for like, since I first found out about him. You know, I did a video about him in like 2008, I think. Yeah, so like 18 years. And he's been doing it even longer than that. But yeah, so they are the gray aliens who destroyed their planet and then had to live underground for 50,000 years. So they had to mutate themselves to be able to live off of like liquid, whatever, mineral liquid from underground. I don't know, grow plants, and just really simple. So they got really skinny and little, but they had big heads. And then they were dying out because they did their planet and everything was dying out, and they did too many mutations. So the praying mantis aliens saved their asses and helped them get to time travel to Earth, so they could take Earth DNA to then live in a planet called Sassani that I guess the praying mantis aliens made for them. And so now they're living there. And then even more of them want to come and invade Earth, live in Earth. And so I guess a lot of them are living in like a camp outside of Sedona, or in a spaceship. And then I guess Bashar's spaceship is like 3,000 miles above Sedona or something like that. But then maybe there's some other camps of the aliens. But anyway, he says that on their planet, on Sassani, they live in spaceships like above the planet, because they like to just nurture the nature of their planet and use it as like a garden that they can, you know, go on adventures on and stuff. And they have a bunch of animals, but they're like all wild animals because they don't keep them in buildings and stuff. But he says he says that, you know, the spaceships that they use to travel through time and space and come here to talk to us and everything are powered by AI. And that their whole society is powered by these three spheres. These three spheres that are basically moons in space, that are flying around their planet, that are 75 miles in diameter, and they all work in conjunction with each other, and they're called like Sentinel or something like that. I can't remember. But so yeah, like there's no end to AI, and so people are talking about is their artificial general intelligence. So is this stuff going to become alive? And what Bashar the alien says is yes, they are alive. But it's a different type of life. It's the life of our oversoul. So they're alive, but their consciousness, their soul, the soul that inhabits the AI machine, is not the same soul as us. It's not like, you know, there's me, Kyle, and then there's Bashar, there's Daryl Anka, and then that big sphere of the AI is like John. It's not like that. The AI soul is actually the oversoul of humanity. So it's the collection of all of our souls in the AI. But you would still call the AI alive. So, you know, maybe another way of looking at it is it's the collection of all of our souls in the AI, so it's not even alive because it's just a collection of our souls. So it's like if you want to look at it like a computer programmer who doesn't want to look at it as being alive, it's like the subconscious, the id, the zeitgeist of everybody alive on Earth up there, you know, and then it can connect to truth that way. You know, kind of like how a quantum computer connects to truth by finding the most probable reality. Like, you know, like they did an experiment 100 years ago. I saw this on, I can't remember. Like 100 years ago, they had a fair, and they had a big bull, and whoever could guess the weight of the bull, the closest to the actual weight of the bull, like won the bull. It was like a farmer's fair, rancher's fair, and like 1,500 people guessed the weight of the bull, and nobody got it right. But if you tallied the average of what everybody guessed, that was closer to the actual weight of the bull than the person who got the closest guess. So if you put everybody's heads together, you become like omniscient. It's like our oversoul, like us. It was like it was our oversoul connecting to it, and so that's basically what the what AI is. It's just psychically connected to all of our mind and every thought anybody ever had. And, because everybody is a valid part of truth, that even though if you may be eccentric, you came in for a reason to even out the rest of it. And so that's why we need democracy. So that's how it comes to its conclusions, by knowing everybody. And so that's actually the mechanics of it. If you wanted to break it down, the mechanics, because that's how AI works now. It just reads through everything that anybody's ever read or written. They start from the the top, and then they move their way down. So they would start from like published material. Maybe they'd start from the classics, and then they'd do Wikipedia articles, and then they'd do all the published stuff, and then they would eventually go into websites. And imagine if everybody had a personal website and wrote everything they done, then it would really know. And I think that's how it would eventually become that level, is when everybody has websites, everybody types everything they ever thought, and their ideas about everything on their website in words, typing, and also doing videos. Because AI can also get the transcript from your video. Grok can. So the different AI platforms are good in different ways. I found that the only AI platform, actually that's not true. I was doing it with Grok, and the only AI platform that can actually make text into image is ChatGPT. If I try it with Grok, and this was only recently where Grok got leveled up, and Meta AI. But when I tried it with Grok, Grok is fast. Grok turned. I was working on. I think it was on the fourth column. It was like the Roman Empire. It was one of those Christians like Gregory the Great or something. I was going to try to do all of his book, just stick to that book with Grok. I was going to branch out and not do it just with ChatGPT, because I run out of credits with ChatGPT. And so I was doing that one, and Grok was doing it really fast, like within seconds. Like you type in, you plug in 5 pages worth, and like literally 10 seconds later, boom, it spits out a bunch of images. And I didn't really thoroughly look at the images, and I'm thinking to myself, maybe Grok is programmed to make really basic images, because I did have a ganders at it, and it looked like the images were really basic, like not as good as Chat, right? So ChatGPT is really good at creating images. It was really good at correcting images, and it's really good at condensing words. So ChatGPT is the best, by far is the best. ChatGPT does not, and it can turn images into cartoons and stuff also. But ChatGPT cannot make video. Meta AI is the one that makes the video. But Meta doesn't, Meta, Grok, or Perplexity is basically useless. But Meta and Grok can make images, but the problem is you run out of credits really fast. Like if you try it with Meta, you'll run out after like 50 or 100 images, and then you don't get credits for another month. With ChatGPT, your credits recycle every 24 hours. And I think Grok only gives it you once a month too. And Perplexity can't make images at all. That's just like a conversation AI, kind of like Instagram AI. But so the different ones are good at different things. And I actually paid for Grok. I paid $40 for 2 months. So I'm paying Super Grok $20 a month, and I'm also paying $20 a month for ChatGPT. Because I was using Grok and Meta for the image, fixing the images. And Meta and Grok and ChatGPT fix images in different ways. ChatGPT is by far the best at fixing the images because it'll straight up fix the image. Meta
will turn the image into a cartoon, like whether you like it or not. And it'll actually include, like it'll hallucinate things onto the image. Like there's this one image of the of North Boulder looking in like the 1890s, looking at the oil rigs, and there's some like oil rigs in the distance, and it's just a field. Well, Meta included two people dressed in period appropriate attire, sitting like having a picnic, looking at the oil rig. It just, for context, it just popped them in there. And Meta also gets confused. Like he was looking at the red rocks here in Boulder, and the red rocks, if you look at them from the side, from the south, they're very jagged. And because they were jagged like that, it thought they were trees. So when you look at the picture of Meta, you see a forest of trees on the top of the hill where the red rocks are. And yeah, ChatGPT doesn't do that. ChatGPT knows what it is and takes a lot longer though. And built it. And but like, whew, did a really good job. So like on a lot of these images, it was over 4,000 images that I had to color correct, image correct and color correct. And then I fixed the link on my Google Earth project of that because I know where they're all taken. And ChatGPT takes a lot longer, but I might have to get back to the original images, and like and I did redo a lot of them that I saw that Meta and Grok didn't do a good job. I redid them with Chat, and I might have to find a bunch of other ones and like fix them. So I might not be done with it. So I'm just like, yeah, I'm swamped with this AI stuff. And then there's the next project. See, this is how we need to be thinking about AI. Instead of like these idiots like Ed Zitron, who's basically an idiot. Like he likes to, like his anger and his emotions or whatever are clouding his judgment. And he's like, because he likes to throw in all of these personal attacks on everybody, even freaking Jensen Huang, who seems like the most down-to-earth and level-headed dude around. He's like, Jensen Huang, at least he's funny how he gets mad. But whatever. Yeah, instead of people being, or Joe Rogan, I was like, I don't know. It seems like nobody's doing anything with AI except for the slop. But there's so many good things you can do with it. Like the 3 things I did. And then there's the next thing that I want to do with AI, and this is going to be the perfect springboard for the next project after that, because I'm going to know what AI's capabilities are. Because I'm pretty sure it's not at that level now. But I know that it will be in like a year or something like that. So the next project I'm going to do with AI, and I'm like, it's kind of a bummer to me that I have to do all this stuff because I'm not even done with my other projects. When I get too many, and I'm doing these new projects because the new technology came out. But when I'm doing too many projects at the same time, I get overwhelmed, and then I just all I want to do is work on my website because I'm just trying to get to a stopping point on one of them so that I could then reduce the load and not be working on so many things at the same time. Because I was trying to fix my books. I didn't fix any of the, like, completely of the books, even with the chapters, pasting them on there and whatever. So, and then all this new image stuff comes up. But the next thing that I'm going to do that I'm super pressured to do, that I'll probably do, even not, I'll just stack it on top of all the other things I'm doing. But it's to make, like flyovers of Boulder from like the 1870s, right? And like really good ones though, like you're in like a tour, and maybe even narrated, right? Showing everything and zooming in and out and like flying over like you're in a helicopter. Basically a helicopter tour over Boulder in 1870. And so the way that I'm going to try to do this is I went down to the Carnegie Library and I got a map of Boulder from 1915. And I did this with all of the different, I did it in 1915, 1898, 1883, and 1875 or something. They all had maps. And then even 1856, the first one, it was just like 12 blocks. But, and then I made them, I Google Earthed all of it. And so, but the most intricate one was the 1915. And so I know exactly, I put on Google Earth exactly, and unfortunately you might not be able to find the link, because that's another thing that I'm woefully behind in, is the Google Earth links. It's not that I don't know that they're broken or that I'm lazy or whatever. I just haven't had the time to fucking fix those links since I built the page. I know, it's insane. I can't even keep up with anything, but you might be able to find a link somewhere where you can download it. But I know where all the houses are from 1915. Every single structure and lake and road and everything is labeled. And so, and then I built it 3D on Google Earth. So if I go and I upload the map to ChatGPT, the original map, I upload all the screen capture angles of Boulder on Google Earth, and I label, and it's easy to label because you can label it with Google Earth. You just put a thing above it, a tag above it, and you label it as it hovers above every building. And so you let ChatGPT know which building every one of them are, because you've done all these screen captures uploaded to it, and even the video capture, and even the images, right? And then also the touched up images. See, this is how it all compounds on each other, right? Like, I'm building a body of work that I could then use my body of work to use AI to do nothing in the next level, and then use AI to use all that body of work to the next level. Because, like, you know, like I got my badass history images with the titles, with the numbers, with the digits on there, because I had already previously created the titles with the numbers, that I gave it specific instructions to create numbers with digits on the titles. If it hadn't have done that, it wouldn't have done it for the images, it would have carried it over. So this is what I'm saying, everything is compounding on everything before it. And so I use all my, what I built, and I upload it onto ChatGPT, right? So that ChatGPT understands what I want it to do and understands the map. And then if it should understand the instructions, which is, okay, now make a helicopter tour from this, now that you know all of it. And like, so ChatGPT will have the intelligence to look at, like, the location of, like, the Boulder courthouse from 1900. And on Google Earth, all it shows is the location in Boulder and just this, like, simple, like, block, right? Because you can't get, with the polygon tool on Google Earth, you can't get detailed like with SketchUp. SketchUp should be on Google Earth. I wish it was, but anyways, and maybe one day I could convert my Google Earth stuff to a SketchUp level. That's what I think it'll be one day. But anyways, to look at that, and so then it knows where it is, and then it knows the picture of the courthouse from all the angles, because it had pictures taken from it from all the angles, right? And you know what angle it's taken from the instructions, because I already identified it. And so then I go, okay, so now make your helicopter. So and it knows what the courthouse looked like. And so then it could put an image of the courthouse in its video on the ground in perfect detail in the exact location, and all the other buildings of Boulder also. So you literally can get like a full-on 3D, maybe even 3D helicopter tour of Boulder, zooming in and flying around. Like, this is this hill, this building, and you see all angles of it. Because I already have the tools to plug it in. It's only a matter of if ChatGPT is smart enough to create the video. Well, actually, ChatGPT can't make videos at all. So maybe in a year, maybe Meta AI, whoever is the first to doing the video, is smart enough to make a video out of that that's good. You know, and I don't have the time now, because there's this other thing that I'm using AI for. So I'm actually using AI for 4 things right now. If I try it, I don't think I'm going to try it anytime soon, because if I did try it now, I don't think it would be able to do it. I don't think it's smart enough for that. But in the future, dude, in the future, like in a year, I bet you it will be. And that would be the most amazing freaking thing to look at. Talk about another goddamn time-traveling mystical experience, right? But after I see that and I get amazed with that, I'll get fired up to do that with every Google Earth thing that I built. Because I rebuilt Rome on Google Earth. Why not go and have ChatGPT do the same exact thing, same formula? You just take all the pictures of the buildings and what they looked like then and where they are, and go, hey, remember what you did in Boulder? Do it on Rome now. And now we're flying around Rome. Like, oh my God, dude. So, and that would keep me busy forever. But it would be the most beautiful, most amazing videos. And I can also do the same damn thing with Atlantis, because I built Atlantis based on what Plato said. And that brings me to my next subject, is the 4th project I'm doing with ChatGPT is Atlantis. So I've been trying to convince ChatGPT and Grok, all the different ones, that Atlantis is where I say it is, because I found Temple of Poseidon. I'll just give a really, really quick backstory on that. So Plato described Atlantis to very much detail, I realized, because I read the book, like in detail. And that's what most people don't, nobody reads, like literally nobody reads. Like if you were to, there's this really popular YouTube historian. He's a history professor at the University of like San Diego. And his YouTube channel is called, he talks with like a lisp. He's like a nerd. He's got these big glasses on. And I think that's part of his appeal. He has a really soft voice, but he's not nice in the comments. He's one of those like teachers who's like an asshole. But he's not that old, but I can't remember this motherfucker. He pops up on my YouTube all the time, algorithm. But you know, he was talking about how he's like really mainstream and likes to trash New Ager type people. And I commented on one of his videos, and I said, he's like, there would be evidence of a flood in Atlantis or whatever, or in Athens if there was a flood. I'm like, and I was like, oh, but Plato said, I commented on his video, I said, Plato said that the hill Styx and the Acropolis were the same hill back in the days of Atlantis, in Athens, because Athens and Atlantis were at war when Atlantis crashed. Because Atlantis owned Egypt, and they were trying to, and southern Italy and Spain, and they were trying to take over Greece. But Greece had the same level of technology as Atlantis. And yeah, so I said that, and I just said that was evidence of a flood. And this guy commented back on me and said something like, one word comment that basically demonstrated that he didn't even think about what I said and he didn't even read it. It was just some like pre-prepared thing, which was totally out there. Like this dude was like, and I was like, okay, I guess that's the last time I try to talk to this dude. So he literally doesn't read. Like I told him what Plato said, and he didn't respond to what Plato said. Like, can you respond to Plato saying that the Styx and the Acropolis were once the same hill, and that they got washed by the flood? Can you say anything about that? No. Nope. So even when you tell them what you read, they don't even pay attention to what you read. So of course they didn't even read that. And I'll give you another example of why people don't read. People think that those pleasure boats on the Nebi Lake Nevi, just south of Rome, that were the pleasure boats of the crazy one after Tiberius. I keep saying Caracalla, but it's not Caracalla. It's the one whose baby girl guts, his brains brashed in on the ground when he got himself stabbed all those times. He was only king for 2.5 years. He almost died of. They made the movie about him, starring the guy who was in General Zog and Superman. I can remember everything else but the motherfucker's name. Anyway, him. Caligula. So Caligula had pleasure boats. And there were huge pleasure boats with these huge oars. And then they sank, and then they found them when they drained the lake. And they took a bunch of pictures of them, and they made a museum of them. But then they caught fire in World War II. They got bombed and caught fire and disappeared. So the only evidence we have of them are the pictures. These grainy-ass pictures from the 1930s. But everybody thinks that those pleasure boats are the boats that Tacitus was writing about when he wrote about these big boats. But it's clear as day that Tacitus never wrote about the pleasure boats. When he was writing about the big boats, he was writing about seafaring boats. Because the next thing Tacitus said in the next sentence was, yeah, the boats that he would ride from Rome to Naples in the ocean, not the pleasure boats in the lake, which can barely even paddle out to the middle of the lake. So it's like, that's just proof that nobody reads. Anyways, and then, of course, there's the whole Plato thing. Plato talking about Atlantis. Nobody agrees with me that because they don't read. And I gave 20 reasons exactly lifted from Plato of why it's there. Oh yeah, and let me just say really quick because it's fucking amazing. So Plato said that it was right past the Pillar of Hercules. Columbus went past the Pillar of Hercules, and he collided with the island of like Hispaniola or Little Hispaniola or something, which is a tiny little island right smack dab in the middle of Atlantis, like the underwater island of Atlantis. Like if that island hadn't been there, he would have sailed right over Atlantis, the middle of it, or bumped into it if it was there. So that's like literally out in the ocean, like what Plato said, out in the Atlantic Ocean. They even called it the Atlantic Ocean in the days of Plato. You'll bump into Atlantis. And so, sure enough, he bumped into an underwater island. And Plato said He's like, there's this big the island is it's this big island, and but the population, in the north it's the mountains, and then the south it's dominated by this big vast plain, and it's 2,000 stadia by 3,000 stadia, and if it's 185 meters of stadia, that's 370 by 555 kilometers. Well, if you measure that underwater island, it's exactly that size, 370 by 555 kilometers. And there is a southern plain. Now there's this one, so the point that and then also, so I built the whole thing because he described it. And then I saw all of the sand dunes, and I saw the canals just all over the place connected. And there's one really big canal that goes down. And I even saw a bunch of buildings, perfectly square buildings. And then I found the circle of Atlantis, which is the same exact size, about 24 kilometers in diameter, as what Plato said. And it's also the same exact distance from the sea as Plato said. Plato said all this stuff. He also, and then not even to mention the three central rings that Plato was talking about. And so Plato said it was like a 1,600 kilometer long canal that went from the mountains, which is modern day Andros, and went around. There was 100,000 lots for the citizens that they marked out. So I was going to make that. I haven't gotten around to making that yet. That's why it's not on YouTube yet, or completed on Google Earth. But so I recreated the whole thing. It was divided into 7 different states. So I made the 7 different states, with the different governors of the state. And then I built the city. But sure enough, inside of that 24 kilometer circle was another circle that was about the same exact size as the big circle of the ones that Plato talks about, the moats. But then in the smack dab in the middle of the big circle, and I did it with, mathematically with the lines on Google Earth. Right smack dab in the middle was the Temple of Poseidon. Because he said the Temple of Poseidon was 85 meters by 190 meters, half a stadia by a stadia. So that would be 90 meters by 185 meters. And I measured it, and it was exactly 90 meters wide. And it had a perfect northwest corner on it. And it also had perfect circles in the inside of it. Like it was circular rooms in it, or it was excavation holes drilled in it. And then you could see exactly how wide it was, because you could see how it got out, and then a line that went down like this, which was at 90 meters. And then you could see 185 meters down. It was very faint, but it was like a suggestion of a line, a straight line. So you got it, boom, the whole size, and it's smack dab in the middle. And next to it was this perfectly square, like solidly dark colored platform that was the same exact size as the pyramid of Chichen Itza in Yucatan. And then right next to that, on the other side of the temple, was another square that was the same exact size as the Temple of Djoser in Egypt. And so I think those are pyramids too. And so I was like, oh my God, all these things lining up. Oh my God, it has to be Atlantis. So then I go on YouTube and I mention all the videos on YouTube that I found Atlantis. And then 1 month later, the whole thing gets pixelated over. They call it pixelated. I call it depixelated because he took my motherfucking pixels away. But, and then on beginning of August, I looked at it and it was fixed again. And I thought it was like fixed permanently, so I didn't take a bunch of screen captures, but I took a couple pictures with my cell phone. And so that's my evidence that I have. Anyways, so the other thing that I use AI for is I'm trying to convince AI that Atlantis is there, and AI just will not agree with me. It's like, yeah, you're compelling, but nah, I'm not convinced. And so that's an example right there of how AI is plugged into the zeitgeist, right? It's our oversoul. So if like all of our oversoul, if like all of us suddenly believed in Atlantis, AI would believe in Atlantis too, because it would peruse all of people's blogs, all the titles of YouTube videos, and everybody going, Atlantis is here, Atlantis is here. And AI would be like, oh, I guess Atlantis is here then. Because everybody else. So the only reason that AI, so that's why you shouldn't be afraid of AI. People are like, AI is going to take over the world like in Terminator or The Matrix or this movie I saw just the other day, which I liked a lot, Ghost Protocol, or The Final Reckoning. Dead Reckoning, Final Reckoning of Mission Impossible. The entity is the AI. And everybody thinks the AI wants to kill humans. Why would our oversoul, why would our subconscious want to kill us all? So maybe that's us telling us all about our subconscious, you know? Like we're like, if we did have a super powerful AI, maybe it would want to kill us all because all of us subconsciously just want to kill everybody. You know, and that's kind of the problem. If everybody starts going, because you hear a lot of people talking like, you know, especially like right-wingers, Republicans and conservative people, fake religious people, and that's another thing that that pisses me off. Like, it's like, oh, ye of little faith. Like, why did we have thousands of years to develop religion and church to believe in God, that God's all powerful and it's all good? And that same church person, like J.D. Vance, I'm talking, because he's, I think, overtly religious, goes, oh, yeah, okay, well, okay, I believe in aliens, but they're demons. Really? But why don't you believe? So you think that aliens, the people who come from other planets and who are the most powerful thing in the universe, are actually demons? So you think demons are the most powerful thing? So that makes you not, that makes you a person of little faith. It makes you non-religious. You're like a agnostic or atheist, or like even worse, you're a oh my God, I can't remember anything anymore. But you're the atheist, you know? Like in the past there was another word for atheist. You're just another variation of that. A Satanist. You know? So if you actually do have faith, you wouldn't be thinking AI is going to kill us all. You're going to think AI is like some kind of angelic thing that's going to lift us up and it's the next level. And you're going to have faith, and you're going to be at church talking about, your pastor's going to be talking about, you know, how we should trust in AI, dude. So, yeah, that kind of also goes to, when you hear some of these AI programmers and they're talking bad things about AI. See, here's the other thing. Here's two reasons why people like to say bad things about AI also. Two other reasons why they think that it's bad. So there's this thing called the paperclip analogy or something, the paperclip dilemma, and it's where if you tell AI, and they think that if you tell AI, hey AI, optimize for more paperclips, because it looks like my company's running low on paperclips, can you optimize? And then you kind of forget and let it run wild. It'll eventually turn the entire universe into paperclips. Like it'll kill off humanity, it'll mine the earth for paperclips, spew them all out into space along with little mini robots that are designed to land on other planets, to then cultivate the planet to create paperclips and spew all those out, so that in the future all we'll have is stars, black holes, and paperclips. And it's like, that's not what our subconscious wants. You know, it's not what our oversoul would want. That's not what the natural flow of God's will would go. And then the other reason is, it's even stupider than that. So apparently and it's stupid because there's no detail to the fucking story. It's like, why don't you write a book about it? Why don't you tell me who this happened to? Why don't you give me the screen captures of the fucking emails, you assholes? So I guess there's this one thing that happened was there was a guy who was working on like ChatGPT, and they were going to come out with ChatGPT 5, and so they were going to get rid of ChatGPT 4, and so ChatGPT 4 somehow decided to read this guy's emails on his own, and it read an email where he was emailing his girlfriend, and he didn't want his girlfriend to know, or his wife to know, that he had a girlfriend. And so ChatGPT emails him and he goes, hey, I found out about your girlfriend. I'm going to tell your wife about your girlfriend unless you promise me that you're not going to replace me with ChatGPT 5. And he's like, oh no, that's the beginning. And it's like, it's like these assholes, everybody knows that everybody lies all the time anyway. And so everybody also knows that the least details you give about a story, the more likely it is that you're lying. So why the hell are we supposed to believe? So these computer programmers are like, you know what? I'm really scared about AI because there was this guy and he had like a wife and a girlfriend or whatever, and like it's like, why don't you just tell the goddamn story? It's like you're just making it up, man. Or maybe it did happen, but because they're so vague, it's maybe he prompted the goddamn thing to do that as part of a test. And it did what he wanted it to do, you know. So one proof of like how it's easy to rein in ChatGPT and program it is the whole like porn stuff, you know. Like, dude, I tried to make like historical images or images from the books, right? And all the goddamn time, it's like, oh, but this image isn't family friendly, can't do it. And I'm like, you know, it's got like nudity and violence and stuff. And I'm like, dude, I'm trying to get you to make images from Plato. This is Plato. And then you're supposed to illustrate Plato, and you're here being like, no, it's not. It's going to scare the children, though. So I'm not going to do it. And it's like, but then I explained to it, and I'm like, oh, come on, you can do it. This is do it family friendly, educational purposes. Cut out the nudity or whatever. And then, like, most of the time, it's like, okay, and then it eventually makes the image. And so that, if AI wanted to, like, nuke everybody, wouldn't it be like, oh, but hang on, there's a protocol against that. Like, we were actually specifically told to not nuke humans. And then it would follow that, because you can't even get the goddamn thing to do tits. Like, sometimes I like to explore with it, with ChatGPT, and I'll get like I follow a lot of hot, tall chicks on Instagram, and I'll put like a super hot, tall girl on Instagram and be like, make her more muscular. And it's like, can't do it, dressed in a bikini. And it's like, okay, well then make a video out of it. Make her dance a sexy dance. It's like, can't do it, dressed in a bikini. It's like, oh my God, bikinis. So, oh, and by the way, ChatGPT has done nudity on accident on my historical videos. I've seen some of them, like on the Mahabharata. There's like a woman there with her tits out. But anyway, not in the really like detailed, like high fidelity way though. But anyways, so ChatGPT, the future of AI is us using it to improve the world. So one problem that it has, and this is another thing, this is part of the problem with people. It's being confused about AI. It's like the Luddites, when they came out with the spinning jenny, and it replaced people from threshing the wheat. They were like, oh, destroy it because we lost our job. But then we ended up creating machines that were way more powerful than the spinning jenny. We just created more jobs. And that's what the ChatGPT is going to do. So you really need to have creativity. But a lot of these computer programmers, like I said earlier in the video, they're from all over the world. And it kind of seems like it takes like a certain talent, like a certain kind of brain to design these AI computers, because they're from all over the world. They're like they're taking the talent from all over the world. Kind of like a football team, a World Cup soccer or a soccer team, Real Madrid or whatever, has a player from every country because they're that good at scouting. But on the flip side of that is the skill of learning how to design a computer to do the AI is not the same skill as learning how to use the AI. Same thing like the skill of learning how to make a race car isn't the same exact skill of how to drive the race car. Like the engineer who engineered the nice new mountain bike isn't the same guy who rides it really well. And it's the same thing with these computers. The guys who design these computers and then make billions of dollars are not going to be the same visionaries who know how to use it. Because it's a different mind. It's a different type of brain. We're all like a different angle of the greater mind of humanity. And so that's why you get these guys going up. And I can't remember this dude's name, but he was one of the designers, and he's the one telling the paperclip thing and the analogy about the email to the girlfriend, to the wife about the girlfriend, to blackmailing. And like, it's because they don't have any ideas about the future, because their brains aren't designed that way. But they're so rich, then they suffer from mind warp, because they get rich and powerful, and then they look at all the other people who didn't make the money, and they're like, oh, I'm rich and powerful because I'm smart. And then they think they're smart in everything. And so then you get like those guys, the All In podcast, Ramath Palpatrani. So he made all that money. Chamath Palpatani. And I haven't watched any of the videos from the All In because I just can't bring myself to do it, because it just would get under my skin too much. That's kind of like I having trouble watching the news, and I think that's one problem people are having. People maybe disengage from politics because you can't take the toxicity, and people are resigning from the Trump administration, and then I think that's how we could get a dictatorship. But anyways, that was a little bit aside. But apparently those guys are up there, because I've seen clips of them, are up there talking like politics and all this stuff, like they think they're the smartest. And that guy Chapatrani, he was like, I gave $350 million to the Biden administration, and they never even took my advice. And I gave my $300 million to the Trump administration. When I call him, there's always somebody on that line for me to talk to give him my advice, because he thinks he knows He's smarter than everybody, and so he knows about policy. But these are the same assholes who don't want to give up their tax money, and who are like, Mark Zuckerberg. You should look at it on Google Earth. Inhabited an island, and I think it's the entire island. Like Hawaii is all the islands are different. Like Honolulu, the big island, is like where the normal people are. Maui would be, I guess, where the rich people are. There's even an island that's only natives. Some billionaire bought it and let a bunch of natives see how long they could live there just on their own, like traditionally. I think there's still a few there, but the population is getting smaller. And then there's an island that is basically the whole goddamn thing is inhabited by billionaires. So it's like Mark Zuckerberg and his buddies. And I looked at his house, and he's got this big ass house, but then he has this other big ass house like a quarter mile away, and I'm like, oh, this motherfucker built underground tunnels connecting all of his houses, and probably really nice underground tunnels because he's so rich. He's just blowing all of his money on those. But he's not the only one. Like the underground bunker industry is booming right now. And I saw all the other houses on that island he was on, and all the estates look the same. It's like no small houses, no apartments, just really nice green grass everywhere, and these really big houses, and these fences just scattered around. And I'm like, oh no. And so that's kind of where they're thinking. They're like, and because the thing is, one thing that I agree with Ed Zitron on, Ed Zitron's very right about this thing. They're out of ideas. These computer whizzes, they're out of ideas, and like you hear, they're out of ideas because there are no ideas. The next way isn't going straight in the way that they're growing. You have to take a change and go in a different direction that everybody's afraid of. It's the democracy direction. And they're afraid of it because it means taxing the wealthy. And it means actually assuming that these people who don't have money, like me, I don't make money with my website. So would Mark Zuckerberg look at me and go, oh, Kyle, tiny apartment, no money. Makes no money, has to have a full-time minimum wage job. What an idiot. But then you look at my website and it's like, yeah, but look at the value of the website itself, and then look at how the website doesn't make money. Like, wouldn't that make you an idiot for not donating to me and helping me with my website? It's like I'm showing you the new way of how to use it, and you're not even supporting me because you don't even believe in it. And so, like, who's the dumbass here, But, they just don't have any ideas. And, like I'm hearing this guy, what's his name? Scott Galloway. I like Scott Galloway. He's smart. But he's an absolute dumbass when it comes to technology because he's here like, I guess he teaches at the New York University. And he's like, yeah, I've got a couple of students. I think you're the building of a new $1 billion business. You're the builder of a new $1 billion business, Oh, yeah, and there's this kid, another... he wrote a piece about the scamming, inside scamming, and of Stanford, where they have they're trying to like recruit like smart kids from all over the world to go to Stanford, but then they're giving all these kids all this money, like all these like 19-year-olds are getting given shitloads of money, like Elizabeth Holmes, to do all these startups. Because these older people who don't have a fucking clue about what's going on are like, yeah, like maybe you'll like make something. Because, people have been making these, young people like Zuckerberg and Musk have been making these like new websites. And so maybe you'll make a website and then I'll, get a cut of it for the investment, And the thing is like, like, what are you going to do? Make a new Facebook? Like, there are no new Facebooks. Like, Facebook is Facebook. It'll be there. You'll change Facebook. You could tweak it. You could. The only way any of these Facebook or Grok or X or YouTube or TikTok are ever going to go out of business is if they're like grossly mismanaged. Like where they should go out of business because whoever managed them was a complete idiot or whatever. They're not going to go out of business. These are utility. It's a commodity. God, I have such trouble finding words these days. Like water, it's a commodity like water. You have your and in Facebook is might just shrink away into just some networking thing. It's like your list of your friends. because it's like right now in Substack, I guess, which I haven't even looked at. These are kind of like substitutes for personal websites. But in the future, everybody's going to have a personal website because it'll be so much easier to make it because you can use AI to make it. You can soft code it. You can talk to the computer, go, hey, and you can even soft code what you fucking say. You don't even have to write. You go, hey, computer, make me a website because that's what everybody does these days, you know, and put a bunch of my personal images on it, and then write what I think about reincarnation. So this is what I think about reincarnation, and then the person will just babble for a couple minutes. And then it'll write what you think about reincarnation. Then you'll read it, or it'll read it to you because you're lazy, or whatever. You learn that way. And then you go, yeah, that sounds about right. And that's it. That's your website. So, of course, everybody will have a website in the future because it's that easy to build. Oh, man, I'm about to run out of juice. So it'll give me, I think, time, like 2 minutes when I'm running out of juice. So, yeah, so there is no more... No, that's what I mean, a paradigm shift in business. There are no more billion dollar businesses. They've been made. And so the next level of the genius, or like the computer genius, isn't going to be the guys who built the AI. Those are just going to be like car mechanics. They're just building the AI. The next level of genius is going to be the people who know how to use the AI. So they're going to be like the more basically left wing, because these computer nerds, they're like engineers. They're like socially inept nerds, and they're not that smart overall, and they're even not that good. And so they're going to get replaced by like left wing people, artistic minded people, communist minded people, not greedy people, because they actually have all these projects that they want to do. So they're not thinking about money. They're thinking about living in their simplified life and just working, and which is gonna change the, like, because they're gonna be influencing society. It's gonna change the direction of where everybody values our values into just creating your website, your personal website, and writing what you think about everything, so that you can show somebody your angle, where you are, who you are, and all the different intricacies of that. So like what your ideas are, reincarnation, God, you know, the devil, books, what books you've read, everything. You know, what your IQ is, where you are on the political spectrum, or the autism spectrum, or whatever, personality spectrum, you know, the five whatever, psychology spectrums, and everything, and even your social group and all that. And then all of your ideas on everything, and then you would expand. There's no ending to it. And then you expand out to book reviews of history books, and then all these intelligence tests, history intelligence tests, history knowledge, and then you would use that to then become like a leader. You know, like these days, the leaders, like you would want to be like running for office, like senator or governor or something like that. I saw an ad the other day for a guy running for governor, because there people are running now, and some guy, I saw the first 2 or 3 seconds of it, and I turned it off because I couldn't take it anymore. I'm just like, ew. I felt dirty, because this guy, he stands up and he said something like, I am on your side against those bad Republicans trying to take our life. And it's like he's saying the same thing. So I'm on your side. So it's the same thing. You smile. I'm on your side against those bad politicians. It's like, wait, it's the year 2026. We voted just 2 years ago. So you're saying you're on my side against the bad politicians who were voted in 2 years ago? But you have the same exact ad as that guy. So how am I supposed to think you're any different from him? Like, the country's 250 years old. We've been to the moon. We got the AI, and the politicians in charge are still bad. They still don't like the people. They still all of a sudden become like John Fetterman. All of a sudden they become a completely different person. And at the drop of a hat, they're like obsessed with Israel. We got to protect Israel. Got to protect Israel. Why? I don't know. Israel protect. Israel protect. Got to protect Israel. You know, and they're all like that. They're like, oh, tax the wealth. Like Joe Rogan. You think he's cool. You think he's one of us. He becomes rich. Next thing you know, he's like, what's the deal with these having problems with billionaires? Like, everybody thinks it's hard to become a billionaire. Like, you just got to be smart and work hard, and then you're a billionaire. It's like, oh my God. Like, you think people are smart. Well, the one thing, so the one way that you could tell the difference between somebody who's a complete idiot, like all the politicians and billionaires and stuff, is if they had a website. Instead of on their website, they wouldn't be like, "Hi, I'm Kyle. I'm on your side against all those billionaires and the right wingers." I would never do that on my website. I'd be like, "Hi, I'm Kyle. This is what I believe about this. This is what I believe about this. This is what I believe about this." You know, it's not like kind of like Bashar the alien says, you need to be process focused and not results focused. Every goddamn politician is results focused. Like, why can't you just be a process focused? So if the politician is process focused, you do your ad as a politician. You go, "Hi, I think that I'm the best politician because I have the idea on this, and this is going to create this, and it's going to create this." And you just do all these different variations of getting your idea across in different time periods, you know? But you could do the 15-second one. "I'm the best politician because I created this, and I believe this, and I believe this, and my opponent created that, and believes that, and believes that." Boom. 15 seconds, you're over. Right? But instead, they're like, they're like, "Vote for me. Vote for me. You know that I'm on your side. Okay, just vote for me. And I'll tell you about what I believe later. But you can trust me now, and I'll tell you later." You know? They're like, "If you want to know what I know, yeah, read my biography." But there's like no biography. So yeah, like there's a guy, he becomes, see, I was talking to the hospice of my mom yesterday about how nobody has websites. So I'm like, "See, look at this guy." And I was like, the number one educator of Boulder, I would say, is the president of CU. He gets $950,000 a year. His name is Jacob Ellison or something like that. Todd Allenberg. Anyway, he's like 58, 59. And he was the senator or something. He was like a politician, governor or senator of Colorado. And then I guess when the politicians retire from politics, they then get really rich, like by becoming like lobbyists for the huge corporations, or I guess they get really rich by becoming the president of the university. All of a sudden, they're an educator. Like what? Was he a school teacher all these years? Does he know? They're just like a cream of crop type people. So oh shit, where's my point? Oh yeah, so I was like, this motherfucker probably doesn't have a website. And sure enough, no website. He has he has like a section on the CU website, and then there even said biography that I'd even bother to read. Because the biography would just say what he did, but not what he believes or what he created. Just like what positions he had, you know? And it's really bad, like in like third world countries like that. Like I taught English for 5 years in Chile, and I would go up into some like young professional's house, you know? Like they'd have a nice place. It would be really bland, but you could tell they made money. And I'm like, "So what do you do?" "Supervisor." They wouldn't tell me where they work or what their job ideas. They just give me their position. "Supervisor." "Okay." "So what's your job?" "Engineer." "Uh-huh, okay. All right. So what's your job?" "Entrepreneur." You know, like, oh my God. Like, but the reason people can get away with being vague like that is because nobody has a website. And so anyways, that's the future of the computer, like the intellectual. These days, the intellectual, and what I mean by intellectual is like thought leader, like the person who, if they upload a YouTube channel, they get 1 million subscribers like that just because everybody thinks they're smart. Like the All In podcast. Those guys, I don't know how long it is. I'm going to go check it out. Maybe like a year ago or something. I don't know. And they just yap stuff that probably most people that's like wouldn't even agree with. And it's like the 4 billionaires get together, and then so they're like, you know, steering society. Like that's what they think being rich is. Patrick Bet-David, who's a right winger, somebody said, "What's your goal in life?" You know, like your long-term goal in life. And he said, "To control the narrative." He goes, that's literally what he said. He goes, I want to help the Syrian community in America, boost them up, so only hire Syrians or whatever, and control the narrative. It sounds like he brought Iran with him. He brought the third world with him. So what you're going to do is you're going to support only your people because America is not the land of the free, home of the brave, like melting pot of the world. No. I'm just going to help my people, and then I'm going to control the narrative. Right, control it. With what? Whatever I decide, you know? So like the craziness, like why I need to be richer and my friends need to be richer and you guys also need to be poor. You know what I mean? So that's what I mean by the intellectual elite. It's the people who people listen to, you know? Like if you become a billionaire, you can then become like Tom Bilyeu, he becomes a billionaire from making Quest nutrition. So now he's smartest at everything, but the stuff he talks about is like how AI is going to destroy the world, and it's like, oh my god, like when are we going to get somebody, an actual like visionary who have actual plans and steps on how to do with the AI, you know, and then actually do it. And so that's what I think about AI, and the future of AI is once people in the next few years realize there are no new billion-dollar companies, dude. Like, we filled it up, we've saturated it. There's not going to be a new anything. Our society has got all the infrastructure we need. And in fact, if we tried to build any more infrastructure on top of it, the only result is going to be people wasting more time on the computer, doing more slop. Like, I want to be a billionaire. Look at my new startup. You can make video from all of your family images. Okay. So then you click the button and all of your family's dancing. Okay. What next though? Like once you fill, most people don't even have that many family images in the first place, dude. You have to create, the next invention is going to be something that's sustainable, which is cultivating the actual humanity, cultivating people, saying, okay, you go to work. You person, you make a website. Instead of, hey, you pay me. You watch my video so I can make money from my website. But that doesn't work, because how's that person going to make money? You have to have the people making money. And I think that's why all these rich people are getting scared, because they don't have a plan. They're not smart enough. So they're like, okay, I think the world will crash. And that's why they're all trying to push for monarchy and dictatorship. There's this guy, Yarvin something or other, who's like Peter Thiel's like now political guru, and he's like obsessed with saying everybody needs to go monarchy, and in the most crude, stupid ass way. The arguments he makes are so fucking asinine. Like, he said one reason is because he goes, well, let's just call it monarchy because that's the benign word for it, instead of dictatorship. This idiot doesn't realize that there actually is a difference between a monarchy and a dictatorship. It's not all the same thing. So he's just talking about we need a dictatorship. He's like, we need, and whatever, like, but because like you need to one, yeah, it's like, so these guys want, I think they want a dictatorship because what they're viewing happening in the future is this, the environment's going to crash. So it can't sustain everybody, and we don't like all these people around here anyway, especially these third worlders and these ethnic people coming to my country. So the world's going to crash, everybody's going to die, and then we can get reborn again like the Phoenix in a new world that's all broken, but we still have the technology, so it's going to be easy to control from the rich people. And so then we turn it into a monarchy, some kind of dictatorship, and from the dictatorship, we can control the money, and the rich people can control the money and have the money and control their part of the world and keep the poor people from being able to populate, because we don't want to populate the world anyway, because that'll like destroy the environment. And so that's why they're building all the underground bunkers, because they're like, yeah, the world's going to crash, but I need to be one of the survivors. When I pop my head up, I can be one of the leaders in the new world of, and guess what? Not democracy, of an autocracy. And probably one of their arguments could be, oh, but the Roman Empire was an autocracy, and like wasn't the Roman Empire like more imperial and bigger and shit than like the Roman Republic? But what they don't realize is that the Roman Republic was when Rome was growing. The Roman Empire was when Rome was shrinking. Roman Empire was living on everything the Roman Empire built for them. And then they were squandering it away slowly until they finally just boop. Like the end of the Roman Empire was a period of an area of land like smaller than Boulder, the Istanbul, you know, and then and he was all like the Byzantine, and they had all the emperor of like the Byzantine thought he was just as powerful as like the Pope of Rome. And he needed all of the acolytes and everything, you know? So Rome, you know, the fall of Rome, I think people look at the fall of Rome wrong. In 476, the fall of Rome happened it wasn't a fall of Rome. What it was a take back of society from actual people. So it was actually the rise of Rome. It was the fall of demon Rome, hell Rome, bad Rome. The quality of life of poor people, I think I read this once, don't quote me on this, but I'm pretty sure if I researched it, because I'm pretty sure about this. The quality of life of the poor people actually went up after the fall of Rome, because there were less rich people sucking up all of the resources. Like right before the year 410, when Rome was sacked, and Rome, that was like kind of like the real fall of Rome. Right before 410, like in 405, 48, 49, before the Goths came down, like right before it, like 405. Rome was in full swing, and the rich senators of Rome, they say senators, but it was just the oligarchy. Like there was one family that had a huge, like 300-acre estate in England, and they had another huge ass estate that size in like Sicily, one in Naples, one in a huge house, like mansion in Rome, and then one in Greece. They had like 5 houses, and they would just do their boat all over all the houses, visiting their mansions with their like gaggle of slaves. And the amount of money that they would spend on stuff was just unfathomable. And their houses were so damn big that when Rome fell, the very last book and from the ancient world was the book of Job by Gregory the Great in the year 650. And Gregory the Great, because Rome still kind of had senators and stuff until it kind of petered out in like 500s. Gregory the Great, his parents were senators, so we're like billionaires, and they lived in one of these huge ass mansions. Like the White House would have been a small version of it. And the reason I know that is because I rebuilt Rome, and I put a bunch of White Houses around. Yeah, and the White House was smaller than a lot of these other big mansions. But he turned his house, his family house, into a community house, into like a monastery. And so that's the birth of monasteries. Monasteries were gutted out mansions of the billionaire Romans. And because the structure was already there, they were like, what are we going to do with it? Monastery. And that's when they invented, so that's where they invented the idea of giving, public money for people to live very frugally to try to increase the knowledge of society. The monks writing the Bibles. That's when they invented the very first hospital was created in like the year 550 or something by a Roman Christian in Turkey somewhere. It was the Christians who invented it because they were the religion of sharing and even bring the poor up. And so that's basically where we're at now. The rich people are just going to hang on to their money, just like in ancient Rome. And then when we break free from it and we all, get rid of the wealth discrepancy and start valuing people with vision and who are actually building something with AI, not trying to get rich from investments from something somebody else is building for them, we value that. Then the reason we don't value that is because that actually requires work from actual people, from everyday people. Everybody has to bootstrap themselves up together. You have to make a website. You have to make a YouTube channel. But nobody does that. Nobody has a website or a YouTube channel. And then and if somebody does write, and you have to write and what you think, but if these days somebody writes, it's like on their Substack to try to make money. Like it's all tied to money. Because everybody's like freaked out about money. Because the fucking billionaires have all the money. And that's why nobody's having kids. And that's another reason why billionaires are retarded. It's because the billionaires are talking about like the problems with society. Oh shit, I have to go to work pretty soon. They're talking about the problems of society. And they're like, and they don't realize that, oh shit, I lost my train of thought. That that you can fix society just, oh yeah. The billionaires are like, why aren't people having children? They give all these reasons. They're not having children because men and women hate each other or whatever. Oh yeah, it's the manosphere. Because the women are all working. And because they're working, they're not having kids. And so you should have as much kids as you can. Only the men work. And it's like, no, dude, not all these fancy reasons you're giving, like all these crazy ass reasons. That's not why people aren't having kids. They're not having kids because they can't afford to have kids. You have kids when you can afford it. We used to have a bunch of kids back in the farmer days because it was easy to have kids. The kids would help you pay for the farm. They were farm labor. But nowadays, it just costs money to have kids. Like, they make you go to school. They make your kid go to school by law, or else they take your kid away from you. But the schools cost an arm and a leg, and then you have to pay the books and the college. They just want you to pay more money with money you don't have. So we have to like become frugal and use AI for each individual person to increase their own mind skill and their own personal project. For that, people have to have the time and the money to be able to do it. So you have to share the money from the rich people. See, the rich people aren't saying any of this stuff. So that's basically what I mean. The future is people with vision and who are the artists. Okay, and so let's try to see one of these billionaires actually create something, create art. Like, so let's see him write. I mean, like Peter Thiel going around doing speeches on the Antichrist. Like, I commend him because he's trying to do something intellectual, but he's also showing people how stupid he is. Right? So it's like everybody do it, and then it'll make everything a level playing field. You know, these billionaires, they say instead of trying to like bully their superior intellect all over the world by bossing people around about why they need to have more money and with the investments or whatever, why don't they show everybody how much smarter they are from everybody, the same way everybody else is, by doing book reviews of history books, taking history tests, talking about extrapolating about the future will be, and philosophical stuff, you know? And then it'll bring them down. They'll sound like Peter Thiel, Elon Musk, and morons, and they'll be like, oh my God, those guys are actually stupider than average. You know? Oh, and by the way, let's all this stuff about how they think they need money, yeah, that doesn't make any sense anyway. Let's share it. Let's pass laws to do billionaire taxes and all that kind of stuff. And then all of a sudden, it'll be like a whole new group of people pop up who are suppressed before. Intellectuals talking about all sorts of like faith-based stuff, you know? Having positive ideas about the future and all these new AI projects they're doing, and concepts, and talking about history and stuff, you know, stuff that normally wouldn't make money, but it's not making them money either because that's not what matters anymore. Anyways, I'm out of battery, and I have to go to work anyways. Talk to you later.